Yippee-Ki-Yay, mother.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to Yippee-Ki-Yay, Mother Podcast. What's going on, Mother Podcasters?
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, loving life.
Loving life. We got another
Studio Cage match tonight.
Oh, let's go. All right, so we'll do a little studio cage match, and then a little what'd you watch?
Barely contain myself.
Yeah, I know it's amazing.
Julian Sands watch has it been found yet?
Yeah, who's
No.
anybody?
Hey,
any
that's
actors have anybody left the planet this week, actor wise? A lot of people have left the planet, but I mean actor wise.
Not that I know of. We'll do it on Cue It Up.
Okay,
That's pretty good.
I think the aliens went home.
about time. All right, so it's a studio cage match, and as always, Chris will introduce this week's.
He's so excited about it.
What?
Yeah. Okay, everybody. This week we're going to talk about two films from the summer of 1998. Both of them have to do with gigantic pieces of space rock slamming into the Earth and wiping out humanity as we know it for the most part. One of them takes a somewhat scientific view, while the other one takes a music video view of the events that were happening. The first one, Deep Impact.
Wait. What are the two films?
Deep Impact and Armageddon.
Studio Cage match.
There can be only one.
They both came out in the summertime of 1998. Deep Impact came out first. I want to say it was in early May or mid-May of 97.
May 10th.
98.
98, sorry. While Armageddon was I believe a 4th of July release. So it was kind of the big movie. Now this was a Michael Bay film when he was hot off a number of big movies, The Rock, and I think he had
Con Air? No, was he Con Air?
No.
He did not direct
No.
Con Air, but I think he was that was a Jerry Bruckheimer film.
Okay. It had a very Con Air feel to it, though.
Yes, it did. They all kind of felt the same.
Yeah.
All those movies were exactly the same in many ways.
Hey, back off, Michael Bay, please. Go ahead.
So anyway, both of these films come out. One was DreamWorks, and the other one was, I think, Universal.
Yes.
Wait.
And so DreamWorks did Deep Impact, and like a lot of DreamWorks movies, it had a number of not the biggest stars, or people who were about to be stars, or hope they were going to be stars. It stars Téa Leoni, I think, is one of the biggest.
Huge star. I don't know what you're saying. Huge star.
That had a prestige cast, I would say, compared
Robert
to
Duvall,
Armageddon.
not a
Yeah,
huge
but-
star. What are we talking about?
Morgan Freeman's in it, but
Yeah.
like,
Huge star. Okay, that's 3 in a row. Next,
okay. But compared to
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood.
He's a small star, but huge. Right?
he wasn't huge until a few years later when he was Frodo. But
Vanessa Redgrave. I'd say she's
And
a
don't-
huge star.
And
Yes.
don't forget, from the Oscar-nominated writer of The Player, Deep Impact.
There were 2 writers on it, too.
Okay, how about Maximillian Schell?
I love
think
him.
he's a big name. James Cromwell, big name.
not saying there weren't some
John
serious,
Favreau. Ever hear of him?
serious
Yeah,
characters.
but let me just say something. It's not Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis.
Black.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll get to that in a minute, but go ahead.
Anyway, this movie takes a much more quote unquote realistic /
Documentary style.
scientific attempt is what it does, and it talks about an asteroid that is going to hit the Earth in about
Comet.
18 months. Comet.
That's a comet. The other one's an asteroid.
Exactly. It's a comet that's going to hit the Earth in about.
The research we do on this show is amazing.
So
It's in the
1997.
movie.
So the amount of time that goes by, there's multiple plans. And what I liked about Deep Impact was I felt like it was more realistic in the sense that there were multiple plans. That they actually said, okay, we're going to try to blow this thing up. We're pretty sure this is going to work.
But
But if it doesn't, guess what? We've got another plan. And if that plan doesn't work, by the way, we've been working on this thing all along because we really don't have a whole lot of faith in those plans. So about 1 million of us lucky ones are going to get to go underground and hang out for a couple of years, which I thought was a nice element to the to that first film, Deep Impact, because it kind of gave you this idea that the world would go on that life would continue.
Hope continues.
While in Armageddon, they make it very clear very early on that it's the size of Texas and not even bacteria will survive the impact, right? Which is going to happen in like 18 days, which, is kind of silly. But the point being is that one of the films, tried to take an actual honest look at something like this, while the other one just said, hey, let's make a music video with a lot of Aerosmith and we'll throw in Liv Tyler just to
Which one was
everyone
which?
gets the connection.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know which one you're selling right now, but I know which one.
Well, the funny thing is that, however, Armageddon was both of them were successes.
Can I give you the profits?
Sure. I think one was
Armageddon, 553 million.
Yes, when a $500 million was still a big deal.
Right. Deep Impact, 349 million.
Right.
So this is actually closer than the nobody's seen the other two shows we did, but this is closer than those were.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is Deep Impact had the bigger opening day weekend, 41 million to 35 for the other.
Oh, wow.
But there was probably more competition on 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, well, Deep Impact was also like the first big summer movie that year that came out. So it had that benefit. Plus, it didn't have any other competition for at least 2 weeks. So, but that being said, personally, I really liked Deep Impact a lot more. I actually like Deep Impact. It's not a great film by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I think it has a lot of fun stuff in it, but it also gets pretty serious. Maybe it takes itself a little too seriously, while Armageddon, on the other hand, just doesn't take itself seriously at all. And it's like to the point where it's almost, it just doesn't even feel like it's at all. There are any stakes, even though we're talking about the death of every last human being on the planet. I don't know.
The world could end. Let's see some strippers and listen to some ZZ Top.
Exactly.
At least in Deep Impact, only the stupid people will die. So I guess that's good.
Yeah, but so of these two films, who has seen both of them I saw both of them the summer they came out.
Same here.
Both of them. And honestly, in the last 25 years, because it's been 25 years now, my opinion hasn't really changed at all. I didn't care much for Armageddon when I saw it, and I rewatched it, and I still it's still pretty darn dumb. Anyway, I know that Ralph.
That's a bad thing. I don't understand it. That's not a bad thing in this particular case.
Anyway,
all right. So go ahead, Sean. Sean puts his hands up.
Yeah, this is I will say of our cage matches, this is the one I was looking forward to most. I was also looking forward to a graphic, but I don't know if it's coming up. But I saw
it came up already. Remember,
Sean? The graphic just happened.
Duh.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I was looking at Debbie amorously, but we'll get back to the movie. Oh, I've got animal crackers for later for us.
Jesus.
But so I saw both of these films, and I kind of agree with Chris. There's something more existential about Deep Impact. And I think this is
pretentious. Okay.
I really liked Leah Leoni. I really liked the Leah Leoni thing, even though she's kind of stupid. Leoni.
Yeah. Joe Fadugga doesn't.
I really loved it. I really loved the crisis. I mean, with her, you definitely felt the world could come to an end. And I liked the relationship with her father, who she spent her whole life with, but doesn't have a single trace of his German accent or phraseology at all. Yeah. So, I like that. And when the films first came out, I really liked Deep Impact better. And I just thought that Armageddon was a big, empty-headed mess. But, I didn't like it at the time.
Again, not a criticism.
Yeah, not a criticism necessarily.
Sounds like
now, here's my problem. Even Deep Impact was quite unbelievable at times, particularly the whole plot line with Frodo, as I like to call him. Okay, he's in love with this girl, and, she's out of his league. I mean, she's Leah Soboleski. We remember her from our Christmas film.
Exactly.
Eyes Wide Shut. And he can't get anywhere with her. It's sort of like, well, if the world ends, will you marry me? Because then you get to go into the shelter and you won't die. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, so that's a real love match. So they're going to go, and they think the parents are going to survive. And they're like, nah, the parents, he was the one who discovers the meteor coming, so he's a famous celebrity. And so he gets a seat in the, in the tunnel. And if he marries this girl, he can take her along. And then the stupidest thing happens. Her parents can't go. And she's like, I'm not going in without my parents. And the parents are like, yeah, don't go in. I mean, what stupid parents, any parents would have simply knocked her unconscious and put her on a cart and pushed her in there to survive. That is so stupid.
Ultimately, didn't they go? Didn't they let them go?
No, they were going to they were down by, for some reason, they were down in Virginia, 6 miles from the ocean when the meteor hits. And at that time, Frodo doesn't go in because he's in love with her.
You stop calling him Frodo.
Yeah.
What's the actor's name? Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood.
Jeez,
Yeah.
Louise.
My niece had such a crush on him at that time, so she loved him. So Elijah Wood, not Frodo, goes and he's on a mini bike, and then he goes to her, look, I'll try to rescue because we're in a traffic jam. And the parents are like, go to the daughter, go, save yourself. Here, take the baby with you. It's like, oh, suddenly, when the meteor's 2 minutes from hitting, it's going to be a 100-story tall tidal wave and you're 6 miles from the beach. Now you're telling her to go when she could have been safely in the cave the whole time.
And this is the movie you liked better than the other one?
No, this is what I hate about that movie.
Oh, but
So he, of course, goes off on a mini bike and manages to get up a mountain in eastern Virginia and just, 6 feet above where the water's going to go.
Okay.
And, so I despise that. And I don't think I could, to me, I can't buy it at all. And now that I'm a grandfather and all, I'm like, I didn't buy it then when I was a single guy. Now I'm like, no way that could happen. So
you don't think a young teenage couple? You don't think a young teenage couple would love to have a baby thrown at them at the last minute? I think that's
and then drive off on it and go up a mountain and miss the water by like 8 inches. And so, of course, I hated Armageddon when it came out.
God.
And I tell you, just watching it again, Debbie's first time, I believe, watching it, just the saturated look of it, the fact that everything is a music video, everything just screamed mid to late 90s big budget action film. And I was so nostalgic for the look and feel of it.
Again, like that's a bad thing. I don't
Yeah.
know where you're going with this. I'm
Why are you so
right
negative
now.
about that?
No, what I'm just saying is that ultimately, outside of the context of just having seen 2 months earlier Deep Impact, watching it this time, I accepted Armageddon on its own terms. And I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Well, I loved Armageddon.
All right, Debbie, let's go.
I loved it. It was Bruce Willis. He's just really Bruce Willis,
He is Bruce Willis.
And he was Bruce Willis through the whole movie. He didn't change into anybody.
And
Nicolas Cage, no, it wasn't cagey like Nicolas Cage. He was Bruce Willis.
That's who we were missing in this movie, Nicolas Cage.
He would have fit great in Armageddon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely
I
would.
did love Steve Buscemi, too.
Okay.
A little creepy. I don't think you could have that character now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But,
So Debbie, Armageddon was between the two of them. Armageddon.
The winner. Oh my gosh, I loved Armageddon. Deep Impact. I don't think it really made an impact with me because it was so nihilistic. I really just didn't like the concept of non-existence.
Well, didn't you like the end when she's there with her daddy? Well, the tidal wave kills them all.
No.
Okay.
As a
What
matter of
other
fact,
film in recent history just ended like that, with two people on a beach accepting their fate?
Rogue
which
One.
was?
Thank you.
Which
Rogue
one?
Thank you,
One?
Star Wars nerds.
Rogue One.
Oh, I thought you were going to say James Bond, No Time to Die.
Oh, that was a good one too.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
stupid.
Yes. Oh, God. All right,
But
Stupid is.
All right.
Stupid does.
Debbie, Armageddon, yes. Deep Impact, no.
Yeah.
Drew, where are you at?
Well, I don't think Michael Bay making a Michael Bay movie is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, that's what he does.
Transformers?
And I like some of his movies, like not Armageddon, but The Rock and The Island. Even when he's a little more serious, like 13 Hours is a lot better than his Pearl Harbor movie. I mean, they're both big, dumb disaster movies. That's a genre with a long history. And so, Michael Bay, whether you like him or not, is directing what are, there's no way around it. These are movies. And Deep Impact is by a premier female TV director who came out of ER. And so it's just not visually that interesting because it's by TV people. That doesn't make it good or bad. But I mean, Michael Bay's movies literally explode at you out of the theater. And Deep Impact, I think, was smart to not do that. And they were both better than Moonfall, although Moonfall is
oh my God,
pretty fucking entertainingly awful.
We didn't put that. No.
But I think they are definitely of their time. They're definitely of the 90s. That's right when I started working out in LA. So I have fond memories of that time around when they came out because you start to know people who worked on these things and that kind of stuff. But it was I don't know, it was just kind of all very silly. And I didn't love either of them. I didn't hate either of them, but Michael Bay's made much better movies, and off the top of my head, I can't name anything else Mimi Leader did. Or did she?
Didn't she do Peacemaker?
Peacemaker.
And she did. Did she do Pay It Forward?
No, I don't think she did that one.
She did something.
Yeah, I can tell you in a second, but definitely Peacemaker, which I thought was one of George Clooney's better films. I thought
that doesn't sound like a real endorsement.
Yeah, the morning show she does on Apple TV. The Leftovers, she directed some of The Leftovers.
Oh yeah, well she's a good director,
yeah,
but I mean,
definitely.
This is DreamWorks was as much making a statement. We hired a lady as they were to make the movie, and she's a West Wing director and an ER director and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, I even though they were both written by people who either had actually won Oscars, like for Ghost, or would be nominated for Oscars later, it's a big look at what the studio system does with people that are talented. Because I remember this was in the trades, and then it was in like Entertainment Weekly and stuff. There was like a writer's room of 30 people, and different people's hands were in this script of what became Armageddon, and like big names then and now, like J.J. Abrams and all these people. And they put that as part of the marketing. Like literally, it took 28 people to write this movie. And I remember thinking, that's not good.
Yeah, they should have gone to at least 30.
But the only thing I really remember about this movie that I thought was entertaining, sometime later in his career, not like recently, but some years after Armageddon, I read an interview with Ben Affleck, and he was talking about how they won the Oscar for Good Will Hunting, and it was a huge hit, and they started these much bigger careers. I think Matt Damon's career has been more interesting. Especially in big action movies. But I remember Ben Affleck said, without any guile or anything, he said, I got paid $600,000 to be in Armageddon. And I remember thinking that was just like all the money in the world. But in a few months, it was gone. I was like, wow. So, everybody in this is like, whether you like the movie or not, they're at the top of their game. It's a huge, big successful movie.
Big gambler.
And, I don't know that you really have a winner because they each have their own approach, but neither of them are like really good. So.
Okay. All right.
Neither of them lingered in the consciousness.
Right.
Most of those things you just said, but okay.
Well, I remember them more than Avatar.
Yeah. That's our baseline. John? Go ahead.
So I saw Deep Impact.
Because you hadn't seen Armageddon before this.
No, I saw it, but I don't think I finished it. Deep Impact I saw a long time ago. I don't remember anything about it. So based on that, and I did watch Armageddon, and I have to tell you, I actually really enjoyed it. And I was surprised how much I liked it. Yeah. I think it was typical Michael Bay, and I got no problem with that because we say it's a Tarantino film. It's a Michael Bay film, so it's loud, it's noisy, it's got a lot of music. But I think what I liked about it the most is I look at that movie, I look at The Rock, I look at Con Air, and look, this is a guy's
Con Air's not Michael Bay, but okay.
I know it's not Michael Bay, but let me go on with my analogy.
Sorry.
it's a guy movie, and it's a bunch of guys. In the main plot is a bunch of guys working together, whether it's Con Air, whether it's a Rock, and they don't make movies like this anymore. And whether that's good or bad, I'll leave that up to the audience.
Like Howard Hawks.
But it reminded me of a time when you could go to a movie like that as a guy and go, oh man, you're pulling for everybody. They're all working together. When someone died, like when Owen Wilson died, I didn't remember that. And that was a little shocking. Now, he wasn't the only, he's not the Owen Wilson he ended up being, but it was still shocking. So I thought Steve Buscemi was great. And I also, as I watched Bruce Willis, who absolutely has a magnetic presence on screen, I couldn't help thinking about what he's going through and how sad it was to watch him in that role, thinking about what's happening to him now.
Can't do that. But
I felt the same way.
I think When Worlds Collide, 1951, did it better than both these movies. But I think I got to tell you, and I was not, I was dreading Armageddon. And as I was laughing at it, I liked Billy Bob Thornton in it. You know, the romantic subplot was, they threw that in there.
Come on, he had a club foot.
They wanted the teeny boppers to like it. But I just thought, for that type of summer movie, that's what you want from a summer, shut your brain off,
He's
eat
so
popcorn.
old. That's why he said
So I really did enjoy it. And Deep Impact, I don't remember anything about it, even though the cast was a much bigger prestige cast than I think Armageddon. But I had no desire, and I was going to watch. I said, no way I can sit through that movie. So, I really enjoyed Armageddon, I have to tell you.
All right. Yeah. Good. I like them both. The cast in Deep Impact is amazing. Robert Duvall playing, they hire this old astronaut, so everybody rallies around him to get in the space shuttle. I mean, they're not going to be successful. He's got Mary McCormick as his co-pilot, who has a hero. She has a great rapport with him. Ron Ellard plays a guy who didn't like him being there because he's so old, and but after all that, with Morgan Freeman, all that stuff, T. Leoni dying on the beach with her father, it's Armageddon that wins this cage match 100%. Because it is what it is. It's just Michael Bay as Michael Bay. And I have more respect for him. I listened to the commentary for Ambulance The Rock. I'm sorry, it was The Rock. I was listening to him talking about The Rock. And his whole goal is he knows what audiences like. He knows they want to sit in that movie theater and they want bombastic. Everything he puts in his films, he does for us. Kind of like what Tom Cruise does. When Tom Cruise gets up before a show starts and goes, I did this for you guys because I know it's you guys that are important and you guys have to keep coming. That's Michael Bay's philosophy. And Armageddon just hits every crazy, all of them, right down to Patton, the actor, Will Patton. You know he's going to have a reunion with his wife and the kid at the end of that film because he's a freaking hero at the end. I know you're rolling your eyes over there, Chris, but this is what movies are supposed to do. Okay. You're supposed to be like, woohoo! When they come out of that thing and whoever didn't die up on that asteroid because Buscemi's throwing machine guns or whatever he's doing because he gets this, that scene where they disarm the bomb.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite character actors, I don't know the guy's name.
Fincher, is that his name?
Fincher, who's going, just tell me you're going to get us home. Yeah. Tell me you're going to get us home. And the screwdrivers are digging in the thing. It's just like.
But I can't remember. Did they have to do the red wire or the green wire?
They got down to that point where they had to make.
He had it on the red and then went to the green.
And then Bruce Willis sacrifices himself for Ben Affleck. I mean, come on.
Ralph, there's one ridiculous part of that movie.
The whole thing is ridiculous.
The one that goes over the top. The one scene that really goes over the top. Why in the world would they have machine guns on that ship?
I think that's what Buscemi was asking. He asked that same thing. Why do we have guns up here? How about who's the guy playing the Russian guy?
He was
Peter
great.
Stormare.
Oh, he was
Peter Stormare. Unbelievable. Okay. That
I'm
scene
going to be a hero.
Right.
I'm going to be a hero.
To me, it's when they launch that ship and they launch it to rescue. Everything is absurd. All the asteroid hits on the Earth. All that stuff that's going on is absurd.
There's a plan, right? The government has a plan, and it's going to work. So if there is an asteroid coming for us, what we're going to do is hawk it out of it or hit it out of its trajectory. to the Earth, and
Well, they're gonna
that solves the problem.
But
They have tests.
both films were,
Satellites.
that's what they alluded to in both films, right? Deep Impact got a little more realistic, like the government had to, because there was looting going on in Deep Impact. You saw all the effects of what would happen if society broke down, and government's trying to keep it together. Kind of like what went on with the COVID, like everybody's trying to figure out what we got to do here, right? Armageddon doesn't give a shit about any of that. Armageddon is just, they're showing strip clubs, and these guys want to go.
Well, how long was the in Deep Impact? How long was it going to take for the comet to hit?
I don't remember.
18
It was months.
It was what?
18
Months.
18 months.
Yes, months.
Okay, and in Armageddon it was 18 days.
Yes.
So that explains the looting. I mean, if it was a longer time period.
Well, the other movie that did that was the one that Adam McKay directed that just came out recently about In the
Look
Sky.
up, don't look up.
Don't look up.
Don't look up.
Oh,
That one
yeah.
that one was more the Deep Impact kind of what's going to happen. I mean, it got absurd, but it still was more based in kind of reality.
You know what? At the beginning of Armageddon, they have the voice of God saying 65 million years ago, the dinosaurs were living and this happened. And I'm sitting there listening to it because it's Charlton Heston.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, this is cool. It's Charlton Heston. I'm like, but I'm surprised they didn't use Morgan Freeman. But then I remembered they can't. He's the president in the other movie.
And he did the voiceover in War of the Worlds.
Yeah,
right.
he was great in that too.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, Deep Impact is the clear winner in this one.
Yeah.
Just from a
Well,
just
you
from
said
a-
Armageddon.
No, you said
Sorry,
Armageddon.
Armageddon. I mean, Deep Impact.
clearly-
You better stop
DEAP.
drinking during the
Clearly,
show,
you're
Rob.
not
No, I
thinking
can't.
straightly.
I'm going with DAP Impact.
DAP
Which is the
Impact.
Indian version.
There was something else I want to say, and you threw me off my track, but that's okay.
Sorry.
While you think about that, there is actually an interesting one. Funny enough, you talk about Morgan Freeman being the voice of God there. As the president, there was a line where where he says, "This is not the end," that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Originally, the line was written, "This is not the end. This is not Armageddon," but they decided to cut that line from the screen. When, of course, by then, obviously, they knew Armageddon was going to be the name
That
of
was
the
a
other
good call.
asteroid movie.
Chris, that's a real Cage point you got.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
If we're scoring.
and I even remember, even as a younger man, that scene at the end where the guy gets off the shuttle and his wife is there, and all that went through my head is, okay, yeah, so he's a hero that helped save the Earth. Is that going to make him a better husband? Like,
I'll make
that's
that.
what you
We're
were
really
thinking.
going to do that. We're really
That's
going to
what
do
you were
that.
thinking. At
We're
that scene,
really going to do that. Okay.
when they
Honestly,
reunited and his father sacrificed himself for him, you said, will this make him a good husband? That's what you were thinking.
yeah, because one thing we don't ever know exactly why she won't even let their son talk to him. So obviously, unless he did something pretty terrible.
He was on the job all the time. That's why. He was always on the rig.
Is
on
that
the rig.
Yeah.
Well,
I think he was on more than the rig.
But the absurdity of the whole thing is it easier to teach astronauts to drill or drillers to be astronauts? That's the okay. That's the only thing you got to just throw away in that film. Everything else, just go for.
the only thing.
Go for
That's
it.
the only thing.
I don't know. That's
beautiful.
one of the few things I accepted.
Yeah,
And
Bruce
Billy
Willis
Bob
made the
Thornton-
case.
come on.
I've
Billy
been
Bob
doing this for
Thornton with the-
35 years. I can't teach someone to do what I do.
Billy Bob
Thornton
Thornton with the extra big shoe. Come on, that's
Yeah.
a character trait. And he had the pin that he gave. It's just a beautiful film. Beautiful film.
Beautiful film.
I
Beautiful film.
describe it a
I've
lot of
never
ways,
heard
Ralph.
that.
I would not describe it as a beautiful
To me,
film.
Michael Bay. I just
And I think
love-
The Rock is a much better film, by the way.
listen.
Well, it
I
is.
don't disagree with that. I'm not. This is not Rock versus
Right.
Armageddon. This is
It's
Armageddon
not rock
Deep
versus
Impact.
paper scissors.
Right.
Yeah.
They both have rocks in it, but this is Armageddon versus Deep Impact,
Right.
not the other way around. So
Beautiful.
anyway,
The app
so
impact.
okay, so Debbie and I and John are Armageddon. I think Drew's a slight Deep Impact.
No, I'm a Greenland.
Okay, you keep doing that. Greenland you bring up for everything now. What about 2012?
That's your go-to, huh, Drew?
2012
Greenland
has
is
the
also-
same
that's
premise
a
where
good
they're going to
point.
take
Greenland-
ships out there and
Greenland is also better than 2012. That's a good point.
I hated Greenland and you love Greenland.
That was great.
All right, so Drew is
Chris, you're going
Drew,
Deep Impact, of course.
Deep Impact or Armageddon. You
Because
got
you
to make
couldn't
it.
buy why she
I really
doesn't
don't
make him a better
feel.
husband.
I really don't feel strongly about
doesn't
either
make
of them.
any sense.
That's.
But
I
if you
think
would
they-
have weighed
that's
the
a-
two, Drew, if someone would have asked you, out of these two, which one should I watch? And you only had these two choices.
You have
no
to
other
pick
choice.
one. You
Which
have
one
to
would
pick
you
one.
pick to say
I
to
think
watch?
you know. I think you know what I'm going to say.
You're going to say Greenland.
No, I'm gonna say drop everything and watch RRR.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Max Fury Road. That's Mad Max Fury Road. I'm
Max
surprised.
Fury Road.
Max
Wow,
Fury
the
Road.
RRR has
Fire.
I
taken
thought
you
it was
out.
gonna be Angry Bob Road Hard.
All right, and Chris, you're Deep Impact.
Deep Impact. Yeah.
Sean, Deep Impact.
Debbie's
Sean,
Armageddon.
change your mind.
Oh, right now, Debbie,
Armageddon.
it's 3-3. So
You are the deciding vote.
Well, I liked
Oh, God.
Armageddon better this time, but I don't. It's still an empty-headed thing.
okay, so it's Deep Impact. Just say
I'm
the
gonna go with
words.
Deep Impact.
Okay. So that's 3-3. All right,
All right.
let's spin the. Do you guys want to do this another week, or are we done?
Oh,
One more week, as long as it's two
All right,
good
now, okay, we
movies.
have a few on the wheel, but John was complaining that he didn't like what's on the wheel. Is there anything? Is there a pair of films that anybody knows that
what
you
I
might wanna
said
do?
was we didn't pick the movies. You guys picked the movies, and maybe if we had a more vested interest in the movies.
Yeah, but these are the only John. I
I know you
Googled
keep saying
twin films,
that, but I don't know that. I mean, I haven't really thought about
Okay,
it.
then
so-
you're out, Sean.
I would like Wyatt Earp and Tombstone.
But Wyatt Earp isn't spelt right, so I hope it doesn't land on that one. All right, so we should spin the wheel, is what you're saying.
I also like
Yes,
Phone
and-
Booth because I didn't see the other film that's with it.
Okay,
but I
I'm
love
kind of
Phone
hoping that
Booth.
one lands because I read an article about Phone Booth today that was pretty cool.
Oh,
Jim
gee, I
Carrey
wonder
was
what
supposed
the
to be in
odds
Phone
are.
Booth.
It'll land on that movie.
Right. So let's spin the wheel and see what happens.
Yeah, let's see.
All right, so this is the thing. Okay, here's the wheel. We've got a
these
few.
movies.
I always say the sneakers on this, but John, you're always whining about this.
Well,
wheel.
because they all suck. That's why.
okay, here we
Oh,
go.
Phone
Except
Booth
for
is
Tombstone.
great.
Here we go.
Tombstone.
Be quiet.
Incredible. Oh God.
A couple interesting. There we go. Capote and Infamous.
God Almighty.
Good films. I don't know if they need to be revisited.
You want to spin
I
another
just
one?
want to
then?
know. I'm just going to look up the
All right.
box office.
Okay, let's spin again. Let's spin.
No,
one
no,
until
no,
Sean-
no.
No,
You
no,
can't
no,
do
that's
that,
good.
Ralph.
This is not the Destiny
Yeah.
film. No, this is different. Sean, we're going to spin till you get one you like. You ready?
Okay.
Okay.
I hope it's Capote Infamous.
This, simple maybe, not easy.
This is
love-
two great films. Sean, yes or
Okay,
no?
let's do it.
All right. Let's go. One of them is a Christopher, what's his name film.
Nolan.
No,
Yes, thank you.
Christopher, what's
Christopher
his
Nolan.
name?
All right, Sean, this is for you. So we blame you next week.
Well, I'm going to put up a 10-minute review of each of those movies.
Okay, you should do that.
Yeah.
Both of these films are pretty good, so I wouldn't
Do
complain
it so
too
I don't
much.
have to watch them.
Have you, John? Have you seen either one of these?
Yeah, I've seen The Prestige.
Anybody? I have not seen
I've
the
seen
other one.
both.
I have not seen The
both
Illusionist
good.
with Ed Norton. So
They're both good.
I like
okay,
The
great.
good.
Prestige.
So it's gonna
Prestige is
be a little bit of
fantastic.
a-
I can't wait to see
And the
the other one.
interesting thing is, unlike the other films, these are not like big budget, gigantic studio movies. These were more mid-indie movies.
That's true.
The one Nolan did was a mid-indie movie?
The Prestige, I was about to say, it had some.
I don't think so.
I mean, it might not have been 150.
Hugh
It wasn't
Jackman's in there?
Armageddon.
Yeah.
Got
No,
Michael
but it was
Caine.
Hugh Jackman and
Michael
what's his
Caine.
name?
Christian Bale,
Christian Bale.
Right.
I mean, that was a
Scarlett Johansson.
big movie.
Huge.
I mean, that probably had an $85 million budget.
No.
I mean, it
Well,
was-
we'll find out with our research.
Back when $85 million meant something.
This
What a
crack
winner.
research we do is going to be huge on this one.
I
All
can't
right,
wait
so
to
let's
hear
do
the
a
box office
round.
numbers, Ralph.
Let's do a quick round, please.
Because that's in the
Quick
comments there.
round
Say that's the best part.
of what'd you watch. John, what did you watch?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to tell Debbie. So on our other channel, we do Indian movies, and we did Lagan, which people have been begging us to do, and it's a great movie about cricket. But there's a fantastic documentary on Netflix in English that was amazing, and it was great. I just thank you, Debbie, for telling me about that. So what I watched after watching some stupid movies that we've had to watch, I watched 1940s The Thief of Baghdad, which is an absolutely gorgeous Technicolor
What?
movie produced by
real?
Alexander Korda,
No.
starring Sabu, Rex Ingram. It's just a beautiful film, and some of the effects, not all, some of the effects have dated, but there's a lot of great special effects in there that I'm trying to imagine watching that film. It's like King Kong, going to see King Kong, to try to figure out how they did some of the things that they did. It's just and it's in a Criterion collection. There's a great commentary on it. It's just a beautiful film. I love it. and it's Douglas Fairbanks did a silent version, and he owned the
Yeah,
name.
that's my preferable one.
Yeah, and he got the permission from court. Well, they paid for it, obviously, but it's just a wonderful fantasy film. The Technicolor is just beautiful. They were going to originally make it in black and white, and they decided to make it in color, and I'm glad they did. So I watched that, and I really enjoyed it. I like those old movies. It's a palate cleanser for me. So that's what I watched.
From what, Armageddon and Deep Impact?
If that didn't get those animal crackers out of your mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
Off
didn't even
your
talk
belly.
about the music that came out of that film. It's amazing. Sean and Debbie?
Well, we didn't watch much, but one thing we watched was another experiment. You know, we had the grandkids over, and we decided to force them to watch Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which is arguably the
I
best.
am going
of
to
the
call
Abbott and
social services on you, too.
Classic.
Keep doing that.
Classic movie.
Well, we told them they were required to watch at least 30 minutes,
And they did.
and they watched 30 minutes of
And
it.
when that 30 minutes was up, they said, okay.
They went upstairs and played Roblox on the phones.
Now, did they watch, you guys show them other, like monster films like Frankenstein or?
No, they won't watch
They
the
won't
old
watch
ones.
them.
They say, we don't want to watch horror movies. Meanwhile, they're watching Stranger Things.
I understand.
You know,
So what, they find
and
them too
smile.
slow or they're silly? They're like, what's that?
No, because they don't want to watch it if it's a horror movie. But
I think they're
They don't
scared.
like-
I think they get scared.
yeah, they also don't like, the one granddaughter calls them gray movies.
Well,
Not
they-
black and
They're
white.
They're
She
not
calls
wrong. They're not wrong.
Yeah.
No.
So it's like, when I tell her we're going to watch a movie, she goes, is it a gray one? You know, so, but I tell you what, one thing that they all seem to like is Laurel and Hardy.
They love them.
They didn't like the Three Stooges.
They're cracking up. Oh,
They
my
like
God.
Laurel and Hardy. They don't understand slapstick because it doesn't really exist anymore. But they don't understand why suddenly they're all hitting each other with things. But they think it's funny. So
How old,
it's
how old are they?
11,
7, 8, and 4.
and 4.
Have you shown them any David Cronenberg movies?
We showed them Crash, but we ended up showed the wrong one.
Do you
Oh,
think,
that's mean.
Sean? Do you think they they don't like the Stooges because the Stooges it's a little more mean spirited when they're slapping each
I
other?
would think so because
Versus
Laurel and Hardy,
Laurel and Hardy?
is nicer.
a little more innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Maybe I picked the wrong Stooge
I mean, can you
films.
imagine the Three Stooges? I mean, in this day and age, the Three Stooges. I mean,
I mean, we grew up on it. We loved. The
I'm not.
Stooges.
I,
we
get
loved
it.
them.
I mean, even then, did you even then think these guys are ridiculous?
No, I
But
just
it's
I
funny.
laughed. It was funny.
Yeah,
didn't
I
think
thought it was
anything else
funny,
Other
too.
than that, I mean,
I don't think women really thought it was Three Stooges.
yeah, I don't
I
think
think-
like
I think-
Mo
I think
thought,
Three Stooges is a
if I
guy
hit
thing.
Curly, I'm going to be
I
a
mean, I hate
better
to say
husband.
that, but-
I don't think he thought that.
All right, so Debbie, is that you guys watch that together? You guys, that's it.
That's really it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
Drew,
another experiment.
Drew, what do you got?
Well, I had an accidental same theme film festival. I watched a show on Amazon Prime called This Little Show of Mine, which is kind of like the comeback about an actress who was a big hit star on a sitcom, and she goes home and she's going to write a one-woman show, and it's like very funny, cringe comedy, weird, and then it takes this really hard turn at the end into like, oh, this real actress in real life is working out some shit that happened to her in the industry. So it was very interesting, but definitely surprising. But I also caught up in thematically related things, 2 Oscar movies from this year. I saw Tar with Cate Blanchett, which I thought had some great performances and looked great. And I like classical music. I know a little about classical music. And the first 45 minutes of that movie, I felt like I didn't know anything about classical music. It's like really, it throws a lot at you. But Cate Blanchett's amazing. But what I really, really liked was Women Talking, that won the Oscar for Sarah Polley.
Sarah Polley.
For screenplay.
Yeah, it won best adapted screenplay. It's like a 12 Angry Men kind of thing. It's most of the movie is these women sitting together in a barn trying to figure out what to do after they find out what horrific tragedy has and evil has been happening in their community for 5 years. It's based on a true story, which is horrifying, and it's just so incredibly well done, and the writing is incredible, the acting is incredible. I'm a huge Sarah Polley fan. She's such a wonderful actress, and really,
Dawn of the Dead.
Just an interesting filmmaker. The kinds of things that she's done, she's been involved in. She's been in the business since she was in Baron Munchausen a million years ago when she was like 6 or something. So of all the Oscar things that I'm catching up on, Women Talking, that's the one that I'd recommend. And I watched that after dinner on my birthday. So that was really like a really cheery movie to celebrate a birthday.
Nice way to.
Who's in that first show you mentioned? Anybody we know?
No, the woman, her name is Ellen Daniels, is the star, writer, creator, and everything, but I didn't recognize her. She's kind of like a Jenna Elfman vibe, and I think that the sitcom that she's supposed to have been on that was a hit it's kind of like broad relationship comedy, something like that. So it could be a Dharma and Greg thing. It's interesting. It's one of these shows. It's like 6 episodes. They're about half an hour each. It's very funny. It's very weird. And I don't believe that there's going to be anything more. It's just the one that she shot during COVID. So it was worth a look.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. Sarah Pauly is also in Go. Do you guys ever see Go?
Mm-hmm. Sure. John August movie.
Great film.
Doug Liman, right?
Doug Liman directed. Yeah.
Chris.
Well, I don't think I watched anything, but I did stumble on, or I shouldn't say stumble, but because I had listened to it a couple of times before, I had started listening to the Video Archives podcast again. The Video Archives podcast stars Roger Avery and Quentin Tarantino. And what I shouldn't say stars, but they are on it. And basically what it is the Video Archives was the name of the video store they both worked at before they actually started making movies. And part of the thing is that, but what they have done is they have actually gone back and purchased at some point the actual videotape and Laserdisc collection when the store shut down. They both went over there. I think Quentin Tarantino purchased the videotape, and then Avery purchased the video or the Laserdisc collection. And so now they go back and they rewatch these movies on VHS, and they talk about the boxes and they talk about this stuff. And what's kind of neat about it is then Roger Avery's daughter, who's in her 20s, she comes on and talks about the movie they just watched. And the last two I listened to were Straw Dogs by Sam Peckinpah, which was a really great episode. I've only ever seen that movie once. I need to rewatch it. But they also
it's very rapey.
Oh yeah. And the other movie they talked about is a movie that I'm sure, John, you probably like, The Great Waldo Pepper.
Oh yeah,
I forgot how fantastic that film is.
Robert Redford, right?
Yeah.
William Goldman script.
William Goldman.
Maybe Susan Sarandon, right?
And Susan Sarandon, yeah. Bo Sevenson. It's a terrific little movie. I actually only saw it for the first time a few years ago. But anyway, that's a pretty good. Normally they review like 3 movies an episode, and I don't like that as much. I prefer when they just talk about one and talk about it for an hour or so.
You don't think you should talk about 2 movies in an episode?
Well, I mean, if there's some way, if those 2 films are, some way tangentially related.
Gotcha.
Are they only reviewing the videotapes and Laserdiscs that they bought?
Of the videotapes, they even talk about like the boxes and
the boxes.
Yeah.
Is this a podcast? Not a YouTube show. It's a podcast.
No,
right?
it's
Audio.
a podcast. Yeah.
You know what?
Okay. Yeah.
You know what, Chris? It reminds me of these 2 brothers. They are from Boston. They're Italian, and they go to Dollar Tree stores and pick up all the fluffy movies.
Debbie, that one didn't get picked up. That one didn't work.
No.
We tried.
That one wasn't renewed for a
We
second.
filmed the
didn't renew
pilot,
that
but
one.
it didn't get picked up.
Didn't get picked up.
Ralph
Well,
decided
maybe you guys
that
should have done it with
But
Michael
thanks for
Jackson.
asking. We
Yeah,
found some
exactly.
Indian friends, and now we're doing all those.
That's
We can't-
right.
Yeah.
all Indian all the time.
Okay. All
That's
Indian.
that's about it.
All right. Since we brought up 1998, I purchased.
Uh-oh.
First of all, I purchased the 4K version and couldn't play it in anything I have. I thought I could, but I don't know why I did it. 1998's Wild Things,
That's a fun movie.
directed by
John
John
can't
McNaughton,
watch
which
it.
I didn't know. The director of Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer directed this film with Matt Dillon, Kevin Bacon,
Denise Richards.
and the girl from Scream. What's her name?
Naomi,
John
Nev
probably
Campbell.
hasn't seen this because there's
I have.
There's
I
6
have.
inches of Kevin Bacon in this film.
I've seen it.
That's right.
It's more like 4
And I
inches.
can't watch it anymore because I'm terrified.
And that particular shot was not it was
Right.
an accident that the female editor said, if you're going to have Denise Richards' boobs in this film the whole time, then we want to see Kevin Bacon's dick as women. So,
But they asked Kevin Bacon.
yeah, of course they
and
did. He was an executive producer.
He was okay with it.
You
Because
didn't think
that's
he
fine.
was not going to? Of course he did that.
Did John edit that
Bacon
movie?
showed his sausage. What?
They
Did
showed
what?
his sausage. This
Showed
film
his
is
bacon.
fantastic. And when I found out, and I didn't even know this, that it was directed by John McNaughton, Friday the 13th original director, Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer director, and it's a great film noir. Talking about film noir today, it's a great thing. They do this great thing at the end. We're in the credit sequence. They kind of show scenes they were going to use as flashbacks, but they kind of explain what was going on in the film. It's a great film. Great film. Now I have it in 4K, which I can't even use.
You don't have a 4K player?
I do not, and I have a Blu-ray, so I got the Blu-ray as well.
Well, bring it to. I have one, so you can bring it here.
I'll bring the 4K version to you.
Because Ralph, Kevin Bacon's dick on my 103-inch screen. Oh man!
But
It's gonna look giant.
I'm surprised you. I thought you were.
You're
I want to
surprised
see
I
that dick.
You're surprised I saw it. Well, at the time I watched it, I didn't know I would see Kevin Bacon's dick.
But can you watch it again? Is my question.
No, he's afraid.
I can fast forward that.
Okay.
You close your eyes tightly.
I watched that for Denise
I
Richards.
will.
I
Here
don't
you
watch
go,
it
John,
for Kevin
right here.
Bacon.
Right there. There's the 4K
Hubba,
version
hubba.
with posters and all kinds of descriptions. So I'll bring that this weekend. You got it.
It's a nice set for something that's essentially a B movie.
It is a B movie.
Is that Arrow? Who did that one?
Arrow.
It is Arrow.
but
Yeah, they have
both-
nice ones.
Yeah,
Good work.
yeah. It's really good. It's got posters. It's got postcards. All kinds of
You get a
stuff.
good deal on that at a Dollar Tree store?
Yeah. This did not. No.
No.
That's why you're gonna pay.
That
for
wasn't
this
$3.
one.
I had an
I'm
early
not, I'm not
DVD of
giving
that.
you this. You're gonna pay for this one.
Ralph, if I tell you I like something, you're supposed to give it to me. Isn't that how that works?
That's the
Rob
deal.
Brothers.
That is the deal.
That's the brothers.
So I'll bring this weekend. I'm glad because you have a 4K at your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a 4K projector.
That's awesome. Kevin's
Yeah.
dick is going to be huge on that TV. I can't wait to see it.
Well,
Wow.
So, all right. So there you go.
Wow.
Wild Things, 1998. Same as Armageddon. Same as
The good news,
Impact.
Dad, no one's here to
This
watch
movie
that
had a
part,
deep
so-
impact on me as
Well,
well.
you
so.
never know.
What
you
do you
never
mean it
know
had a
when-
deep impact on you?
It was very impactful. Is what I'm saying.
Ralph, could you do us a favor? Could you record John when he's watching that scene?
I will.
Yes.
You know what? I think we should do that. I think
That'll be fun.
Yeah,
I
forget it.
think we
Leave it
should.
at home.
I'll record his wife.
Leave it at
looking
home.
I'll record his wife watching it.
I
That's
just
even
want to
better.
know circumcised or uncircumcised. I
Oh,
can't.
he was definitely circumcised.
He was cut.
I can't tell.
Yeah, sure, Ralph. You don't know.
I was
Sure.
not looking that
You didn't
hard.
pause it for 20
That-
seconds.
yeah.
Give me a break.
Wait a minute, you weren't looking that
Okay,
hard.
stop it. All right,
Look at
enough.
Kevin
All right.
Bacon.
Okay, here we go. So next week we're doing what? The
Another cage match, right?
The illusionist.
these
I like
things
the
are
cage
huge.
match.
These
So
are
do I.
Prestige
So
and
do
the
our
illusionist.
120 fans who watch it. So that's good.
These are huge.
Well,
Chris, don't let them get you down, baby. These are good. Good
You
things.
know,
yeah, Chris, I like
Chris
the
is starting
idea.
to.
Oh,
Chris is
by the
starting
way,
to
I did
realize
get a
the truth.
laser
Yeah.
disc. Sean, I got a laser disc this weekend that had a Marlon Brando Western. I can't remember.
Missouri
One-Eyed
Breaks?
Jacks?
No.
Missouri Breaks?
No, you
The
could
Island of Dr. Moreau?
What is
No.
it?
And
The two-
my name is Nobody. It was a double thing. But I only bought it from My Name Is Nobody.
Yeah.
But there's also a Brando Western.
Is that the one we just got a comment on? It was that one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that one.
We
keeps-
just got
that
a
one
comment on
keeps
that one.
giving.
How
Yeah.
long ago did we
No.
post that?
I don't know. This is why you
Crazy.
need to subscribe to this channel.
Yeah.
This is
And hit
why.
the notification button and like it.
That's
and
right.
actually
And-
watch it now and again would be good too.
Well,
What?
At least all of us should watch it all the way through. That would
Exactly.
that'd be the first thing. So
well, Ralph always does something tricky and he wants to make sure that we see it. So
Right.
that's why he does
it's
it.
a test.
He
I
usually
always
puts
test.
Kevin Bacon's penis in it.
Yeah, like Fight Club. You just cut it in a frame at a time.
I just want to see if you guys are watching. That's all that is. So. All right, everybody, have a good week.
Thank you.
These, by the way, next week's films are Sean, so blame Sean if you
Okay.
guys don't like them. So
And everyone out there, have a happy Easter. If you
Yes.
celebrate
Yes.
it, enjoy
And
the
Good
weekend.
Friday. And
And Good
Passover.
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 yeah, and Indictment Day
Sameach.
wasn't that bad today either. I'm
No.
not gonna lie.
Oh,
It was good. Good day. Good day.
Happy
Great day for
Justice.
Right.
Great day for the
Sean,
country.
nice hat with that shirt works great.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.